Hey, buddy, how you doing?
How are you?
Man,
You look
tired.
like you look like you've been in the fields all day.
Yep, been field working, exhausted, planting plants, transplanting, building cages, drugging out
Oh,
plants. So work, work, work.
my. Let's see if I can get my camera lens a little cleaner here. Um, so yeah, man, that just how hot is it where you are?
Um, Up there on the hill, it's about 85 degrees to 95 degrees during the day. So it's up there. It's always about
Uh,
20 degrees cooler than the valley.
well, it is good to see you today. Anybody who's jumping in on the various, if you're on YouTube, welcome to YouTube. If you're seeing us on Facebook, welcome to Facebook. We are here on another version of the Waked and Baked show. And I
Yeah.
am Rick Wood, and that is wonderful Sean Rosa. We're sorry for technical difficulties that we had for yesterday, but we wanted to make sure that, we were going to do it right and we didn't want to be 20 minutes late doing it. So here we are today. And today's really cool topic is traumatic brain injury. We're talking about cannabis, hemp, traumatic brain injury, concussion, that kind of stuff. So if you have questions, I can see you guys on the other pages. So if you want to send me a question to give to Sean, please let us know. So otherwise, how you been doing there, my brother?
Been good. Been good. Just been really busy. The thought we were going to be finished yesterday, and the day dragged on, and just couldn't get everything done in time. So ended up still working this morning and finished up and on my way down the hill. Got almost to Payson. I was hoping I'd make it to Payson by noon so I could call you and grab lunch. But here in Christopher Creek, it's a real beautiful area.
Well, um, Seth, who's my business partner for C Team Wellness and stuff, he's a boxer. He's played football. I've had friends who've had concussions, brain swelling.
Yeah.
Is it what receptors or what works to help shrink that down, those injuries?
Well, when we're dealing with any type of concussions or type of traumatic brain injury, we've seen the medication, our CBD oil, is able to penetrate all three layers of the brain. So once the medication is in your system, it's in your bloodstream, you've taken it orally, it now can penetrate all three of those membrane levels in the brain, and that's where it's helping with um, inflammation. So you've got a bruise, the area of the tissue is now inflamed, there's bleeding, and it's helping with that very, very quickly as well. I mean, I've had a lot of traumatic brain injury incidents, a couple concussions. One of them was really bad. So then every concussion after that always escalated, right? So you're
Right.
concussion prone after you get these really, really bad ones that are severe. They look like a permanent bruise, more or less. And recently I re-injured it. I had a boating accident, concussion. I was taking our CBD medication, and it takes the fuzziness away, really quick. It's like
Is it
getting a band-aid on it.
CB1, and CB2 that reduces inflammation?
Correct. So our CB1 receptors is going to be our anti-inflammatory receptors that.
Okay. Just trying to keep my knowledge here together. So, um, someone this girl Amelia, this young lady Amelia just sent us a question. Besides as an anti-anxiety and or anti-inflammatory aid, does CBD or THC offer any other benefits for anybody with a TBI?
Yeah, headaches, nausea, some of the
Yes,
other symptoms
nausea.
that go along with having, contusions and brain injuries, or even repetitive, you know, trauma. Uh, this is what it's been really, really helpful for getting rid of that fuzziness, the kind of, it's almost like a static feeling, like the when you get your bell rung, really hard, and helps get that away quickly, helps alleviate that, brings back a lot of the clarity, and it also helps internally if you're not noticing as much as obviously the anti-inflammatory properties, and help restoring those tissues that have been damaged.
Um, so football players, boxers, soccer players, all of that.
Yeah.
We have a soccer player who uses our oil quite a bit, and he's always hitting that ball with his head over and
Right.
over and over again. And he had said something too, because once you get a concussion, you get another one. It's different every time that happens. It just kind of piles up on it.
Right. Mine was a
And,
skiing accident. That was when it started, and then it was just every, little sport injury that you get that involves bumping your head. It just kind of added to it, compiled.
we have another question here. Oh my, I need to pay attention. Sorry about that. Um, guy wants to know where babies come from. Now I can't tell him that. Um, is it better to simply use CBD with TBI injuries, not THC? Is it better to use CBD over THC?
You want to specifically make sure you're getting the CBD portion. If you're using it in conjunction with the THC, it's going to help. It's going to, the most important factor of it is going to be the anti-inflammatory. That's what's going to help get a lot of the fuzziness away and a lot of the nausea away as well. So if you have it with THC, that's good, but the THC part of it isn't what's going to be the most effective in treating it for TBI or other type of head trauma. It's definitely going to be
Well,
the
this dude, this guy Mark just asked because um, he puts here that when he got his medication, it says not to take it with drugs, and it
right.
was like, but this is different. CBD is different. The THC is different. The THC would be for the pain, and the CBD would be for the shrinking
You
and
could
less
you can look at it
inflammation.
that way, right? And CBD does help with pain as well. So, like I said, if you have it together, that's great. But getting the CBD portion is going to be the most. Uh,
Okay, so getting the CBD, guys, would be the most important part of shrinking stuff down. And all of you guys who have been sending in questions and stuff, thank you very, very much. I mean, each week that we do this, we'll pull out some of your questions to ask Sean and stuff like that. We have a young lady in the Valley who is a chef and will be on one of our shows when we talk about cooking with edibles, which is hopefully sometime soon. She was in a car accident, and they didn't really know what was where she got hit from behind. It wasn't a real bad impact, but it was enough when she got hit that her brain moved like a fraction of an inch, just a small amount, and she was walking around confused, and she didn't
right,
know what
right.
was going on. Sorry. Well, she was kind of confused, and what I said about that was that she's been using CBD oil for that. Um, it's not that CBD oil or THC, they're cure-alls, but they supplemental into your healing process.
Right.
So that's the big deal. CBD has been so instrumental in supplementing my healing process. Like I used to take liposomal turmeric for inflammation. Well, when I added CBD
Right.
oil to it, jacked it right up. So it seems to help increase the benefit. I hope I said that right.
I agree.
So, not another question came in. Sorry. Is there a different approach typically used with CBD or THC depending on the severity of, like, do they use these different things more or less depending on the severity of the ailment?
Not exactly on severity. It's not like if we're dealing with a cancer issue, you're definitely going to want all the cannabinoids present together to give that entourage effect. But we're dealing with specifically like today, what we're talking about, contusions and traumatic brain injuries. We want to get anti-inflammatory properties as deep as we can to the affected areas. So once it's in your bloodstream, that's when we're going to see the benefit of it actually going in, helping restore the tissues that have been affected and allowing, proper blood flow to those areas. So it's not going to be, so if it's a really bad incident, it's not like we're going to need, now we have to add THC to it. That's not necessarily the case. It would be more beneficial in a way that, yeah, there are some pain relieving elements to it, but if we're dealing with brain cancer, then we're talking about, wanting to introduce the THC and CBD together. More beneficial in a way that, yeah, there are some.
Oh, so we're bleeding over here. I'm just turning that down. Amy just said that, but you shouldn't mix THC with any prescription pain drugs. Go correct, and always check. And it depends on the drug or whatever, but always check with your physician. If you were taking opiates or something for pain or something, you need to talk to your doctor about that. And I would rather have THC for pain than an opiate any day.
Right.
But that's my personal experience.
Right. And mine as well.
And that's a lot. And Carol's here writing about she didn't use CBD for the brain injury stuff, but she used it for the anxiety she got after she had the car accident.
Sure.
Every time she got behind the wheel of a car, she just had that little trepidation. And she goes, it really was okay. I could actually take the oil before I would go on a drive. And that was very helpful for her.
That'd be a perfect way.
There is a girl, Lisa, here, wants to know where you got your glasses at.
Sunglasses.
I like them too. Where'd you get them?
Yeah, sunglasses. Coachella.
There you go. You guys get all kinds of fun stuff here.
Oh man.
It's now this is like, how would you I think they're trying to ask me here, you take the oil for the inflammation, but they're talking about our pain cream. They're like saying rubbing it on the back of their neck here is where they experience a lot of pain, but I don't think they're talking, is this a concussion? No. If they had neck pain, yes, you could use our cream. Concussion, I would.
I was going to say, probably depending on where and how the contusion happens, you may have neck pain and, pain in the skull itself, where that's where the hot pain cream would help, would be getting to the nerves, getting to the muscles, and getting the CBD medication in that way. When we're dealing specifically with internal issues and specifically internal injury in the brain, that's when we're dealing with it in a sublingual way, taking the oil as a tincture under the tongue and getting the medication in quickly that way. When it absorbs in through your mouth, it absorbs very quickly, and it gets those molecules broken down to very, very small particles, and those is what we're talking about, getting those receptors in the brain to bond with that. And by taking the medication for and right after a concussion is getting the anti-inflammatory and the properties that are necessary to relieve all the problems that are happening now because those cells inside the brain have been overactivated or they become dormant because of the bruising.
I'm sorry. I'll put a little pain cream on the back of my neck. That reminded me. Sorry.
Right?
I got distracted. You guys talked about pain cream. And sometimes when I'm in the office here and I'm sitting on this desk, I tend to lean forward when I shouldn't. So that really starts to bother that. The friend of mine who, the kid that is, my business partner boxes, this other kid actually uses our pain cream after he boxes. Just all over his shoulders, all over his arms, all of that stuff to help reduce the inflammation. And that's what this is all about. Inflammation. Inflammation is the number one root of disease.
Right.
All of this, whether we're talking about concussions.
Yep.
It is the root of all. We got something else there. Is it, someone just asked, I don't think it matters, but you would know better than I would. Could you still absorb, do you have to put the CBD oil under your tongue, or can I just mix it in a drink?
You can mix it in the drink. It does absorb quicker in the mouth, under the tongue, in the gums. So when you put it and you absorb it in your mouth by holding on to it, almost like oil letting, it's absorbing into the blood vessels in your mouth, and it's bypassing the liver and the kidneys and the other GI tract. So when we're ingesting it in a drink and we're drinking it down, it's going to sit in the stomach for a little bit. There's not very many receptors for absorbing right into the stomach. We got to get it into the GI tract first, and then it really starts absorbing. So by the time that already has taken place, a lot of time has gone by. So that's why the quickest way would be under the tongue and allowing it to soak in your gums.
And I really like the oil you guys put together because there's very little particulate matter in the oil. And it's so you could add it to anything. I mean, I put it right in my mouth and I get a slight taste of plant, but it's so slight. It doesn't ruin anything. And I can't wait to get our chef on here so we could talk about cooking with it. I added some. If I'm in a lot of pain, I put it right in my mouth. If I'm just starting my day, I add it to my tea.
Right.
That's what I do.
Smart.
Well, I don't know. My wife will probably tell you I'm not that smart. The other thing here is how much this lady has a lot, and we keep jumping back. I know our topic is mostly on brain injury, but this is a good question. I have a lot of anxiety. What is too much oil in the day?
It's individualized, so it really depends on how your body reacts to it. Where some people, a dropper in the morning and a dropper at night is plenty. Some people take a dropper and a half in the morning and a dropper and a half at night. So I always tell people, start with one dropper in the morning and do another dropper an hour before bed and see how you react. If you're needing more because you're not noticing the difference, increase it incrementally, a little bit at a time. Go up like a half dropper full at a time until you hit that right dosing that you need. Some people are going to need less. Some people are going to need more. Really is individualized. It comes down to your blood type, your weight, your overall sensitivity to different things, that everyone has different.
It's just, and same thing with THC. People say, well, should I smoke a joint? Should I smoke two? And it's like, it's your body.
Start with a puff and wait an hour, right? That's how you learn.
Yeah. I mean, there are older people now. I have clients who are now using THC and CBD, and it's like they get really nervous. And I'm like, with the THC, small amount. That's all you have to try. Try and see how you feel. There are, there's tinctures now for THC as well as CBD. You can smoke the flower, THC or CBD, eat it, THC or CBD. I have found that if I ingest THC, it's a much more intense effect for me. So I really have to watch as much of that as I use. Would that be correct?
Yeah, most people have that same reaction. If you eat it, it's going to be a longer, more intense high, and usually the high is different. It's much, to be a much more different experience. It's all individualized, but for the most of the time, people they feel and sense that eating it is a stronger and more prolonged experience. Where smoking it is more an immediate sense, more of a euphoric sense, and not so much in the body. Where it's more in the mind, it's more in the head, it's more cerebral. It's more introspective thought and anti-anxiety and those types of benefits, where eating it turns it more into more like what people will experience with pain medication, right? It's definitely you affect it in the body. There's a tingling sense. There's also, that sense of euphoria comes along with that. But it's not much in the head. It's not as much something where you're getting as introspective. You may have too much. You may feel like you have the spins, right? Or that you've taken too much of something, like a pill or alcohol can have that effect. Same thing when we ingest it and eat it that way. That would be signs that your body is saying, "Hey, my cup is too full. We've had too much."
And yes, there are people that you can't get too much THC in your receptors.
Yeah.
You can do it. I have tried. I'm sure Sean's tried too. I think it's called CHT or something like that, where the receptors get so full that you can get sick. So the body will try to get it out, and you will vomit. So now that is probably days and weeks and weeks and weeks of just like continual THC use like that. But you'd have to be smoking quite a bit.
Right, because your body will bond it to it, and so if it can't bond anymore, it's going to waste it out. So you're going to get out of your waste factories as you normally would with other, things that the body doesn't need.
Right. And then but isn't it good for nausea? I go, well, yeah, Pepto-Bismol might be good for nausea, but if you ate 5 buckets of it, you'd get sick too. So,
right.
So to do that, so yes, under the tongue with the oil right away, gets right into the body. So that would be the quickest way to use it. And any of you guys who have used our product, Sean's product, any of this stuff, and you've gotten results, let us know about it. And please subscribe to us on YouTube so we can send you guys posts and stuff like that. Like I said yesterday, we're a little out of sorts, but we will have. We have to beg, I think, Seth and Justin to come on here, because I know you're looking at us, Justin. It'll be okay, Seth. You guys can come on here.
Right, we won't be too scared.
Don't be too scared. Any of you guys in the industry and you would like to be on our show, please contact us. We'd love to have you on. So if you're in the CBD business, if you're in the grow business, THC, you're a chef that cooks with us, please contact us. We would love to talk to you. We are usually on here on Tuesdays at noon, except today is Wednesday because we couldn't be on yesterday.
Yeah, too bad. We were hoping we would have signal up there and, be up there on the land, but it was just hit or miss yesterday. And a lot of clouds rolling in too, so it was pretty.
I know. I'm like every Arizonian here going, wow, those are clouds. Will rain come out of them? Just to do that. But just to wrap this up, we talked a little bit about brain trauma and how CBD oil and using THC helps reduce inflammation, may help with your pain, even the cream for your neck when you've hurt or injured your neck or anything like that. Next week, it'll be a surprise, but it should be a pretty good show. We'll start to put stuff up about it. Please subscribe to us. Anything you'd like to add, sir?
No, not really. Just to finish up what we talked about, we would love any testimonials, any anecdotal, commentary on how it's helped you or what has or hasn't worked. We would love it. We can share the information and pass it along. People wondering how to use the medication when we're talking about traumatic brain injury is use it right away. Get it in your system as quick as possible to help take away some of the fuzziness. It will help with the headaches, and it will help with the nausea. And keep using it to keep those things at bay.
This Mark just sent a question from Florida. He's like, well, can't you use CBD to help get rid of your THC high?
Yes.
Yep. If you are too stoned, if you're too fuzzy,
yep,
a little CBD oil helps that. How does it do that?
They counterbalance each other. So they work together as a team. And so they counterbalance each other out. So if you have too much THC when you take CBD, it counteracts some of the effects that the THC is having on your body. So the feeling that you've had too much, the spins, heart racing, kind of feel that people have had associated with, ingesting too much. This is a quick way to alleviate that, and it's not masking it. It is actually bringing it down to a more tolerable level that your body is wanting.
Okay. Thank you guys once again for coming to our show. Just been starting to do this for the last month, and I think this is like our second or third decent show that came through without technical difficulties. So
getting better.
Very, very, even getting better all the time. Questions you have, send it to me. Send them to Sean, deeplyrooted.com. We're Cannabis Team USA and C Team Wellness on this side. And we are going to do more. Hopefully, we'll be getting a chef on here soon. We're going to talk about cooking with CBD, THC.
Yeah, that'll be a fun show.
Thank you guys from both of us. We'll see you next week.
Take care. Thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye.